Joining me now is Dr. Phil McGraw, psychologist, author, and host of Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, thanks so much for being on with us. I think this isn't part of the calculation of the bending the curve and all of those graphs that we see, and they're very interesting. I'm not saying they're not important, but those comments aren't taken into consideration when we look at those graphs.
Well, Laura, they never are, and thank you for having me on, and thank you for giving a voice to this because it's so very important. This is invisible. I can't show you an X-ray of depression. I can't show you an X-ray of anxiety, but the fact of the matter is the longer this lockdown goes on, the more vulnerable people get, and it's like there's a tipping point. There's a point at which people start having enough problems in lockdown that it will actually create more destruction and actually more death across time than the actual virus will itself. Perfect storm, Laura, because here you've got people that are in isolation. That creates problems. Loneliness actually creates problems. People that suffer from loneliness, they become 29% more likely to have coronary artery disease, 32% more likely to have strokes or die, 40% more likely to have dementia if they're in that age group. So it's not just that it's psychological, their bodies actually start breaking down.
I'd like you to elaborate on that briefly. Exactly what is herd immunity? It's in your article from 5 weeks ago, too. And why is that very, very important for society? What is that all about?
Well, one of the things we're hearing about in the news now, Mark, is Singapore did so well, but now they're starting to have a resurgence in cases, or South Korea the same. Yeah, that's what'll happen. If you lock everybody away from everybody else, kind of wait until things get better and then let everybody out into the world, the virus is still out there. We don't have antibodies. We'll just get it later. I mean, if all you do is flatten the curve, you don't prevent deaths or severe cases. You just change the dates. We don't want to do that. So how do you prevent that? You really only have two options. One is a vaccine. Well, scientists are doing the best they can, but it's many months away. And the other is herd immunity. Herd immunity is when people who are prone to the milder versions of this infection get it, get over it, make antibodies, and are immune. So let's say I do that. And let's say you don't. Well, I represent a roadblock on your behalf when it comes to coronavirus, because if I have antibodies, I can't get it, I can't give it to you, and so it doesn't matter whether you're vulnerable. You and I shake hands, you don't get it from me. When enough of us have made antibodies at the population level, there are enough dead ends that the virus just can't get through the population. It finds it harder to get to a host where it can survive, and it dies out. That's herd immunity. The numbers of us that need to have antibodies vary with the properties of a given contagion, and we're learning what the properties of this particular contagion are. That also needs to come from data. But it looks to me like that is the best way to get to a place where grandparents can once again hug their grandchildren.